Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson here from ZeldaDungeon.net, and you are watching my video walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass for the Nintendo DS. Having just completed Muto's Temple, we finally have all 3 pure metals, so our next objective is to assemble the Phantom Sword, which is the only weapon that can defeat Bellum. So, set sail for the northwest quadrant, and in the northernmost island is owned by Zaz the Blacksmith. So in the northeast quadrant, there is a traveler ship, and on board there is the Man of Smiles. How it works is there's a bunch of enemies in there, you defeat them all, the Man of Smiles appears, and he gives you a prize. The first time you do that, he gives you a quest item that leads eventually to the Swordsman's Scroll, which I also acquired several videos back. But afterwards, you can go back to his ship and defeat all the monsters again to get prize postcards. Put the prize postcard in a mailbox, and eventually a prize will appear in the mail, which is what is happening in this video. So, the prizes you get are actually kind of weird. If you enter a drawing, and if you win, you get a picture that's signed by somebody, otherwise, which is actually bad, you don't want that. More often, you actually lose the drawing, and that's actually what you want. You want to lose because you get ship parts that are worth a lot of money. So, this ship part I'm getting in this video is worth 800 rupees. However, you can get some that are worth even more. And this is one of the ways that you can get golden ship parts throughout the game. Now, unfortunately, this is only really available like towards the tail end of the game, so you won't actually have this opportunity until pretty late in your play sessions. But anyways, this is one way you can get the golden ship parts, and how that works is the prize postcard is consumed when you receive the prize. So then, now if I go back to the traveler's ship, enemies will be there again. I can defeat them again to get another prize postcard and send it in the mail once more. So you can keep doing this, keep defeating enemies, send it in, get the prize, go back to the Man of Smiles, and get more. So you can just keep doing that with prize postcards to steadily get ship parts throughout the game. Chuck your pure metals at Eyebrow Man here, and he'll put them together to make a sword out of them. He'll say that it takes a little bit of time, though, so he asks you to leave and come back later. So, go ahead and leave his little hut, and on your way back to your boat, you'll get a letter in the mail from Jolin. We've created such fond memories together, and so she's decided the only thing that makes sense is revenge. So, go ahead and challenge her to another duel, and we don't really have much choice in this one. You're forced to encounter her the very first time, and this final time as well. Other than that, I'm not actually sure that it's required to encounter her at all throughout the rest of the game. So I think if you actually avoided her the entire game, then you'd only encounter her twice. I think that's nearly impossible, though, because she is always in awkward places. Like, I think technically you could avoid her, Minimalist Run or something, I don't know. I suppose technically, as far as game time spent, it's definitely faster to avoid her than to encounter her in general. So if you had to swing really wide, it'd still be to your advantage as far as a pure time sink anyways. So at this point, this is actually the second time that we get to sign our name, and we get a chance to redo it, so you can make it whatever you want, but this will finalize it for the rest of the game. You will see it during the credits, but other than that, I don't think signing it actually does anything. Now, I always make it whatever I made my file name, and typically I just make my file name Link. I just do that over and over again because that's the name of the hero, and I guess I've just gotten used to it. He doesn't actually force you to make it that name, but that's the one I always choose, so whatever. I don't think I've ever actually made it my name. I suppose I would if I was playing these with other people, I suppose, like there's multiple people using the same cartridge or something like that, but honestly, at least in my family, I was the only one who actually liked the Zelda games. Nobody else cared, which is kind of sad, because these games are awesome. But anyways, so instead, otherwise, the only other things I've ever done is I've done funny names, like Skyward Sword, I'll make my character's name Short Pants, which is funny if you know that game at all. But anyways, other than that, I don't really ever do anything funny for his names specifically. I'll make funny names for like Epona and Twilight Princess and stuff like that. Like one thing I did is like in Pokemon, when I play like Red, Yellow, and Blue, I'd make the rival's name B.O. because he'd always say "smell you later," you know? And I thought that was amusing. I guess really though, like whatever you make your name is what the characters in the game are going to be calling you, your character, so maybe it's just more a matter of perspective. Like if you're trying to view the character as the character is you, which is the reason why they let you personalize the name in the first place, then it makes it feel like it's your adventure as opposed to Link having an adventure and you're controlling that character, I guess. So maybe it's more like not necessarily a matter of preference so much as a matter of perspective, I guess. So I'm curious though how many people actually do that, like what percentage of people do the name as Link as opposed to your own personal name or some other alias. So our next objective is to meet up with Jolin, and she is circling around the map here in the northwest quadrant, so I just warped over to get a little bit closer to her, and then I'm going to meet up with her, and that will complete this portion of the storyline. Now again, this is actually part of the main storyline, so you do have to do this, which is kind of weird. Like, she's been pretty optional this entire game, but now she's required. Alright, so we're meeting up with Jolin. She tends to circle around the map either clockwise or counterclockwise in one of the quadrants. I think at this point, for this point in the game, I think she's actually guaranteed in every single quadrant. So if you warp somewhere else, she's going to be there. So I actually warped just to get a little bit closer, and I'm just meeting up with her. In this case, she's going counterclockwise, so I'm actually going to meet up with her by going clockwise around the map this way. So that was the fastest way to encounter her. Let's see, let's talk about prize postcards again. So prize postcards you can get them from the Man of Smiles in the northeast quadrant at the Traveler ship. You defeat all the enemies there, you get the prize postcard, you put it in a mailbox, you save the game, close it down, and you can change the date on your console if you want. And doing so, making it like one day in the future, you fire up, save your console, whatever, fire up Phantom Hourglass again, and now the prize postcard prize will be in the mailbox. Now, there's a chance that you could win the drawing, and then you don't actually get anything awesome for that, which is kind of lame. But otherwise, if you lose the drawing, which happens far more often, then you get a guaranteed ship part. Now, this is actually very easy. You just defeat, like, some yellow choo-choos and some Octoroks and, like, a Zora Warrior, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't take that long. It takes you, like, maybe 20 seconds to defeat the enemies. You're spending, like, a total of, like, a minute, like, traveling to the Traveler ship, then traveling to a port to put it in a postbox. You warp to some other quadrant, then go to a port. So probably Merkay would be the fastest one, I guess. But anyways, you just keep doing that and put it in a postbox, save, close down the game, change the date on your console, fire up Phantom Hourglass again. So you could do that over and over again, and that would guarantee that you could get ship parts. Now, the pool is actually pretty high tier. It's something like 30 or 35 ship parts, something like that, and 8 of which are golden ship parts. So you actually have a pretty good chance to get a golden ship part, actually. It might not seem like it at first, but all of the prizes are going to be worth at least 800, and you can go to Beetle's Mask Shop as well, and I think there's a pretty high chance for that to also be a golden ship part. So, anyways, by doing prize postcards and keep changing the date on your console over and over again, you actually have a pretty high chance of getting golden ship parts. So if you are struggling if you're wanting to get the golden ship, but you are struggling to, or you're wanting to just complete some of the more rare treasures anyways, but you don't want to do the shooting gallery, and you don't want to fight pirate ships over and over again, which is another good way to get golden ship parts, by the way, then this might be another alternative for you. It's also a little more guaranteed, like the pirate ships aren't always there, I guess. I think if you change the date on your console, then it is guaranteed to appear, but then that way you don't have to deal with all the sunken treasure shenanigans, so this is probably significantly faster than that, honestly, because sunken treasure takes a long time to do all that. So yeah, it's kind of tedious, but here's the thing, like, it only takes about 2 minutes, and you get a guaranteed high-tier ship part. Now, there's about an 8 out of 30 or 35 chance that you will get one of the golden ship parts. Now, you might end up with duplicates here and there, but eventually you will complete your entire set. So that's one way you can do that. That's pretty quick, honestly. That doesn't take long to get a chance at that. Meanwhile, as opposed to, like, going through the entire Temple of the Ocean King, or like doing pirates, or doing the shooting gallery. So that's another option for you. So this final fight with Jolin, she'll actually fight you twice. So once you knock the sword out of her hand the first time, she'll pick it back up and charge at you again. So go ahead and defeat her a second time. After that, she'll make her leave for the final time and go speak with Linebeck to get an update on, like, their relationship and finally get the last info dump of this humorous exchange. So something that happens in a lot of video games is they want to empower the player and allow you to feel like you did a good job and stuff like that. So they don't usually try to, like, have cutscenes where the character does something really awesome and, like, does something that you can't do in the game yourself, I guess. Sometimes they do that, though, just because there's something that they can accomplish in a movie, a cinematic, that they can't show with regular gameplay. But otherwise, though, just having some kind of character interactions where it, like, continues a relationship or whatever is often considered almost like a type of reward, and that's what you get for. So in this case, we fought Jolene, And then Linebeck opened up to us and explained a little bit about what their relationship was, so it gives us context and it makes us feel good about having completed that part of the quest. So that's our reward, and so we got that instead of rupees, actually. Thus far, Linebeck has been giving us prizes every time that we fight her, and at this point in the walkthrough, I'm actually getting 200 rupees from him every time. So I don't know if you noticed that, but we didn't actually get any rupees from her, and that's because we got a bunch of text instead. Maybe that feels a little bit cheap, but that's actually pretty normal in a lot of video games where you get some kind of reward that is a movie instead, and sometimes it feels pretty good. Like, it feels like accomplished, you know? Anyways, once you're done fighting Jolin, you can return back to Zaz's island, and he's completed the blade of the Phantom Sword. One Phantom Blade complete. Unfortunately, some assembly is required. He is not able to make a hilt for us, and he says that we need to go speak with the Ocean King, who is Oshus, by the way. He revealed that to us at the end of the ghost ship. So go speak with Oshus on Merkay Island, and he can hopefully help us finish off the sword. Oh yeah! Phantom Sword complete. With that, you can make your way to the Temple of the Ocean King. However, if you do try to go back to the boat and speak with Linebeck, you'll see that Linebeck isn't actually there. So you want to head north towards the Temple of the Ocean King where you'll meet up with him. So once the tsundere leaves, you can decide where you want to go. You can continue on to the Temple of the Ocean King, which is the main storyline stuff we have to do. Otherwise, if you've been following along with me, I actually have all of the various gems collected, except for 2 remaining power gems, which we are about to get. So make your way over to Spirit Island. One of those power gems was from Muto, who is the ghost dude at the end of Muto's temple, back where we just came from, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't understand. Like, apparently ghosts still send letters, so seems like a weird place to go for the postman, too. Like, alright, I'm just gonna head to this island full of dead people, and then go to this temple there, and then this, like, spirit dude will, like, give me a letter to send to people. I don't know. Can he even write anything? Can he even touch stuff? So can he write letters himself, or is he just, like, saying what he wants and the postman's writing it down, or I don't know how that works. So to get the letter to appear in the mail, you do have to have the date change. This is another one of those letters that only appears after the date has changed. So you can either pick up the game on a different date, or you can forcefully change the date on your console, and that will make it appear. So if you're already at Spirit Island and you don't have the letter yet, but you want to upgrade your spirits, like, I would highly recommend you just do that real quick, just to finish it off. Because as long as you're already here, because this is the very end of the game, and now you're going to want that Spirit of Power. So if you look off from the map, off to the right side, there's a bunch of little islands and stuff, and I haven't explored there yet because we didn't have a reason to yet, but now that we're at the end of the game, we can get the final power gem over here. So continue on to the right, you can use the grappling hook to get over here, and you'll notice there's a bunch of Octoroks. You can actually use the grappling hook to kill enemies too. I haven't really done that yet, but that is fairly effective, and you can also use it to grab rupees and stuff too. To get across these gaps, you can actually jump across with very well-timed jumps and bonk into the rocks with your shield. However, definitely makes more sense just to use ranged weapons. Now, the hammer is actually just way more powerful than everything else. So you can use the boomerang, you can use the bow, but the hammer is just, like, better than everything. So you can just mash your way through everything in this. The hammer is kind of like the most ridiculous weapon ever. Just want to point out that this rupee is fake, so the fact that you can use an item on it and nothing happens. And you can kill like-likes with the grappling hook as well, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't do very much damage, but it does work. But yeah, the hammer is just, like, way too overpowered. I don't know what they could have done. Like, maybe just make it so it only works if you charge it first or something, but it's too instantaneous. I don't know. It just feels, like, crazy powerful. So once you get the power gem, then continue on to the left and enter the cave. And so at this point, if you've been following along with me, you should have 20 courage, power, and wisdom gems, so we can upgrade all 3 spirits. Alright, so the Spirit of Power, rank 2, what it does is it makes your sword even more flamey, and this makes it do 4 times damage instead, which is kind of nuts. So that does a lot of damage, kills a lot of enemies really fast. You can pretty much one-shot just about every enemy in the game, pretty much. Meanwhile, the Spirit of Courage, what it does is this upgrade just makes the beam a little bit wider, which is kind of meh, honestly. It doesn't make it do any more damage or anything, it just makes it easier to hit things. But I feel like that's not super worthwhile. Meanwhile, the Spirit of Wisdom, what it does is it reduces damage even further, and it makes your shield more powerful, so you can block even more beams and stuff like that, which is sweet. But it also reduces your damage down to a quarter of what it normally was, so this is actually pretty crazy. Like, for a lot of games, this would be like getting the red mail, I guess, for like a Link to the Past kind of thing, or a Link Between Worlds, or the original Legend of Zelda. It's kind of like that. And so that's a really good defensive upgrade. The other thing that it does is it actually makes it so that you take even less time damage from phantoms. So normally a phantom, when it hits you, it will subtract 30 seconds from your Phantom Hourglass. With these Spirit of Wisdom rank 1, when they hit you with that, it only subtracts 15 seconds instead. With the fully upgraded Spirit of Wisdom, you actually don't get any time subtracted at all. So you'll restart the room, you take a heart of damage or whatever, but you don't actually get any time taken away. Before we continue on to the Temple of the Ocean King, I'm going to stop by Beetle's shop to check out potions and also to look and see what ship parts he has. Now, he has 2 different slots. One of them is for a low-tier treasure, or low-tier ship part, and the other one is for a very high-tier ship part that is worth 1,500. So that slot has a potential to be a golden ship part. So it's worthwhile to check it, especially towards the end of the game when you have a lot of rupees. So at this point, you should have tons of rupees if you've been getting sunken treasure, because you can sell them to the treasure teller for quite a bit of rupees. So you should have way more than enough to afford that if he does have one. Otherwise, I'm going to check out potions. Now, you can only hold 2 potions at once, so we have to choose which ones we want to bring to the final battle. So red potions restore 6 hearts, purple potions restore 8 hearts, and they also heal you completely, so they're like a fairy from other games. And then otherwise, yellow potions are the best. They restore your health completely. Now, at this point, yellow potions definitely make the most sense because I have the most number of hearts. I'm feeling lazy, so I'm just going to go do this. But just so you know, you can get red potions and purple potions are available on Merkay, Melita shops, and also Beetle. Then meanwhile, you can get purple potions and yellow potions from either the Goron shop or Beetle's Mask shop. So it's probably better overall to go ahead and get 2 yellow potions would be the best at this point, if you have that many hearts anyways. What I decided for myself was I was just like, I'll give a purple potion and a yellow potion so that if I die, then the purple potion will heal me, but I still have a yellow potion to heal my health completely, so it's kind of balanced, was kind of my thought. One other thing I noticed, though, when I was doing this, I was surprised by this at this point, I didn't realize this, but Beetle's potions are quite a bit more expensive. They're about 33% more expensive than other shops, so it's definitely more economical to buy stuff other places. Now, I'm not worried about it because I have so many rupees, but as I was buying that, I was like, whoa, really? I didn't realize that was even a thing, so I checked the prices after that, and sure enough, he's just more expensive than everybody else. Now, Beetle will actually get reduced prices later, and I went to this shop real quick just to show this, but also just to double check the pricing. I was like, really? Is this really, like, cheaper or whatever? And sure enough, it is. So these potions, the red potions here, are for 50, and he sells them for 80. So his pricing will go down as you keep buying stuff from him, but it's kind of excessive. Next, it might be smart to fix up your boat before we tackle the final boss. So what you want to have, for every 3 ship parts that are of the same set, you get 1 additional heart on your boat. So I actually have a full set, which gives you 1 additional heart beyond that. So if you have to mix and match, if you have at least 3 from one set, 3 from another set, you can get 2 hearts. You should have enough ship parts at this point that you can do that, at the very least. But if you do have a full set, you'll get 1 additional heart in addition to all that. So I get 2 for each set of 3, plus 1 additional one for having a full set. So I have a total of 7 hearts on my boat, which is awesome right now. Now, unfortunately, I actually did not get any golden ship parts throughout this entire playthrough, which I was really surprised by. Now, if I had done some of these minigames and stuff, I could have forced it to happen before now. I'm actually going to tackle the remaining golden ship parts at the end of this video, and I'll explain once I get to that point. So anyways, let's enter the Temple of the Ocean King. If you've been following along with me, we now have all of these Sand Devourers too, so we have 25 minutes. Now that we have the Phantom Sword, we can also kill Phantoms. And because we have all the items, we can get all of the yellow jars and create a whole bunch of shortcuts to let us progress through here really fast. So our goal right now is I'm actually going through the lower floors. This is unnecessary, but I just want to show how to defeat all the Phantoms on each floor. Basically, all you have to do is lure them over to a safe zone and stab them in the back. That's pretty much it. And otherwise, you're just solving the regular puzzles. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kill all the Phantoms to make chests appear that contain treasure, and then I'm going to get all the yellow jars and stuff, and that's it. So we're just skipping through these floors really fast. You can complete these very quickly because once you don't have the Phantoms to deal with, everything progresses very fast. So the value of the stuff that is in the treasure chest that you get for defeating Phantoms is determined by how deep into the Temple of the Ocean King you are. So the first 3 floors you get really low tier treasure. The next 3 floors you get some kind of mid tier treasures. The next 3 floors after that you get some pretty high tier treasure. You get some lower tier ship parts, high tier treasure. And the last 3 floors you get high tier ship parts, which have the potential to be golden ship parts. And those are the ones we care about. Those are the ones with the greatest rupee value, and also the golden ship parts in particular is what we really, really want. So that all being said, the only floors that you really, really care about where you want to kill phantoms and get the treasure is actually just floors 11, 12, and 13. Those are the only ones we care about. All the other ones don't really matter. So we're going to you can just skip ahead. You can go to the yellow portal and skip halfway through the dungeon and then continue onward. One of the advantages of going through the earlier floors is you can get a key, though, pretty early on. So that would be one reason why you would want to, I guess. But other than that, the first floors don't really matter. So I'm showing them just to show a playthrough of me running through the Temple of the Ocean King to show how to do those floors. But I've already talked about them pretty thoroughly in previous videos, so I don't feel the need to go into detail explaining them right now. If you're at this point where you're running through the Temple of the Ocean King again just to kill phantoms, you already are pretty familiar with these floors, I guess. Is my logic there. But yeah, pretty much as long as you have a red jar or something like that that you can throw somewhere, you have a safe zone you can run to, and you just lure all the phantoms over to you, and then you can stab them in the back. It's great. So, interestingly enough, now that we have bomb shoes, we can use it to break this crystal switch to the south, and this opens the door. We don't actually need to bring the circle crystal over to the left at all, because the only reason to do that was to bring the triangle crystal over here so we could lower the spikes. So, because we don't need to do that, we can just leave the circle crystal here. I'm going to go ahead and bring red jars to kill all the phantoms, and so I'm actually going to the left side first. Normally you'd head over here to bring the circle crystal here, but we don't need to do that. And one other fun fact is you can actually bring red jars up and down stairs, which is kind of weird. And it's interesting because the red jars reappear whenever you leave a floor and come back. So that's also another interesting way of taking care of that. Once you defeat the phantom on this floor, you'll get the square crystal, which gives you access to the triangle crystal. But one other thing you can do real quick is, as long as you're doing this on this side, you can go ahead and go up a floor and get the, you can make a shortcut there in case you still need to move back and forth with the air geyser here. But otherwise, you can also use this upper platform to get the yellow jar to increase your time just a little bit. And you can even just start drawing a path with the boomerang and then just walk away, and it'll pick it up in the meantime. All that's left to do on this floor is put all of the crystals in the pedestal, and actually there's no reason not to put it in the secret order. What I kept doing for this is I kept putting it in the wrong order on purpose so I could make sure I could go to that room, but they actually all lead to this room, and the reason I was doing that was so that I could get some seconds from the yellow jar there. But this was unnecessary because even if you do the secret order, then it still shows you that room anyways, so I should have just done that in the first place. So square, circle, triangle. So unfortunately, when a gold phantom is alerted to your presence by somebody else seeing you, they'll warp over, and what that means is if they can't find you immediately, what they'll do is they'll actually just warp away. I was trying to make this one see me, but it didn't work out, and it just warped away instead, which I was really sad by. So I'm going to have to go let it see me instead. So if it sees me in person as opposed to a phantom eye or another phantom seeing me, then it will walk over instead of just warping over, and that way it doesn't warp away. One of the nice things about killing the phantoms on this floor is you will get a key which we need to progress, but if you've been following along with me for the earlier floors, you could have one extra key at this point too. Continue on to the bottom left, and there is actually a rusty switch that you can hit with the hammer. This leads to a chest containing a treasure map. I guess sort of one interesting comment to talk about as far as a strategy for this. If you're feeling lazy, you don't actually have to be sneaky with the phantom eyes anymore at all, because after the phantoms are defeated anyways, you don't have to worry about the gold phantoms warping over to you when the phantom eyes see you. They'll slow you down and stuff like that, but after you shake them off, they're actually stunned for a little bit, and you can just slash them with your sword after that. So if you're feeling lazy, you can totally just walk up to the phantom eyes on purpose at this point, and it doesn't matter. This floor is awesome. All you have to do is kill the 2 phantoms, and it's super easy to do so. And there's some waking water, so you just want to be careful of that because you can attract them that way. But otherwise, you just defeat the 2 phantoms, get the chest that appears, and now that we have the hammer, you can actually enter the door on the right. And this will actually lead to an area where you can use the hammer to get through here, and you don't need a key at all. And of course, my chest is anything but a golden ship parts. I got rupees, of all the things I could get. I'm finally getting all these high-tier treasures and stuff like that, but it's always things I don't want. This safe zone has a crystal switch that creates a chest off to the right that contains the final map of the game. So we'll get that here in just a little bit. I was kind of positioning myself a little bit, and this phantom eye is coming, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to smash the ground here. It'll be great. So I smashed it as it was coming towards me, and I don't know if a lot of people know you can do that. You can totally hit them with arrows or even your sword, honestly, although it's cutting it real close. Now, unfortunately, dealing with the phantom eye made it so I didn't have enough time. I'm not sure. I think you could probably do that and still kill the phantom eye, but it's it'd be a real close thing. So one other trick you can use is bombs, and this works pretty well. Now I would recommend though just don't tap the item button in the bottom right corner of the screen. Instead you want to use either right on the D-pad or the A button, and this will give you enough time that you can swap items pretty quick. So doing so will give you a couple extra precious seconds so that you can get to this chest a little bit faster. Now you can totally sneak up on any phantom and smack them with your sword, however it is a little bit more dangerous on waking water, so instead I recommend you stun them with the bow, and that allows them to be stunned so that you can walk over to them without having to worry about them turning around because of being alerted to your waking water noises. Now something I always forget about this area is there is a rusty switch in the bottom left corner of that corner of the room that lowers the spikes there, that creates a shortcut back to the middle. I don't know why, I always forget that, and so that's what I should have done in order to get back to the middle instead. Where's my golden shippers? So this room has suddenly gotten a little more intense. You want to use the yellow jar off to the side, and then there's a red jar off to the right, and what you want to do is hop down and throw this in the middle. Now, if you mess this up, you can just leave the room and come back, and the safe zone will, the red jar will be reappeared, and so you can try again. I recommend putting it over here in the top left corner so that if you need to, you can dig up that soft soil location and escape, although it takes precious seconds and stuff. Honestly, I don't think you can complete this room without using the safe zone. I don't think there's any way for you to do it, because if any of the phantoms see you, they just chase you indefinitely. Like, there's nowhere you can run far enough to get away from them, and basically how you avoid phantoms is you have to run around corners, and that's how you can get them to stop chasing you. But because we're in an open area, I don't even really think it's possible. Like, the more phantoms there are, the worse it is, but if you have the safe zone here anyways, it's really easy, and all you have to do, honestly, is let them see you on purpose, so they all run over to you. Man, you know, something I keep forgetting to mention is that you can also use the hammer to distract phantoms. You can use other items for this too, like shooting arrows at the walls and stuff like that, but I like the hammer. The hammer is just instantaneous, so I guess it's just instant gratification is why it feels this way. But if you smack the floor, then the phantoms will go and investigate, so you can actually like purposely make their back facing you, and then you can either shoot them with the bow to stun them, or you can run over and stab them with the phantom sword now. But that's a useful tip throughout the dungeons in general. I have used the boomerang a couple times to distract phantoms, but when you're standing in a safe zone right now, you can easily make them go look at something real quick. Alright, so up ahead we have these stairs leading to the final boss of the game, and unfortunately the bridge behind us collapsed, so we don't have any way to go back. However, if you talk to the tablet just to the right, this will create a two-way portal back to the beginning. Now this blue portal is actually a two-way portal, unlike the other portals in the Temple of the Ocean King. The other blue ones were always one-way portals. This one is actually a two-way, just like the yellow portal. So now we have the yellow one and the blue one. The blue one will take us all the way to the last boss, and the yellow one will take us halfway through the dungeon. So I'm just leaving here, and I'm going to warp back into it just to show that it brings back to this location. So this one is actually right in front of the Phantom Hourglass where we got that. Speaking of which, Phantom Hourglass is kind of weird because now it's part of our sword. I don't understand why like it shows our hourglass flipping upside down and stuff like that when it's like in our sword now. I don't know how that works. Now, we can't go across that bridge again because it has fallen down. However, if you come from the first side, so if you're working your way down through the Temple of the Ocean King, you can get back to that bridge. And on this side of the bridge now that you've already gone through it once, 2 chests will appear in that final room instead. So they have a very high probability of being golden ship parts. So it's actually one decent way to get them as well. It's kind of guaranteed. I don't think it's as efficient as doing the shooting gallery or doing the prize postcards, actually. Technically, those are still significantly faster, but this is one tried and true way to get golden ship parts as well. So I'm just going to fast forward like crazy through all these floors. I mean, I just did this, like, you know, we're just going to zip through it. So one of the interesting thing to know is that these crystals that you're getting right away, you don't need to bring the circle crystal to the circle pedestal. The only one that you need to bring is the square crystal from killing the phantom to the square pedestal to get to the triangle crystal. That's the only one that's weird. But now that we have bomb shoes, we can make shortcuts, and so that's super nice. And I'm not going to spend time talking about this because I already showed all these floors a little bit ago. We're just not getting the maps with those hammer puzzles. That's the only other thing that's different. But other than that, everything else is the same. I was also feeling kind of stubborn at this point. Like, I was really trying to show that you can get good ship parts, but instead I kept getting rupees for those last floors. And so I went through this again, and guess what I got? Again, rupees. That's what I got for the last few floors, was just a whole bunch of rupees, except for the final chest. The final chest was indeed a golden ship part. My first one in the game. So like, ugh, finally. So anyways, this is one option for getting golden ship parts, even though, like, my luck on this was pretty bad. Like, that is actually a pretty good way to get golden ship parts. There was, once upon a time, one other way you could get guaranteed ship parts, and that was big plays. Phantom Hourglass had an online multiplayer system that was, where one player plays as Phantoms, the other player plays as Link, and Link is trying to gather all the Force Gems. It's just like Temple of the Ocean King, except that one player controls 3 Phantoms. So that was how that worked. It was kind of neat, and there was various achievements you could get for playing online multiplayer like that. And so some of them were for completing it a certain number of times, or not collecting any items or whatever. And so if you could complete the whole session without getting items, then you'd earn the achievement. So for every 4 achievements that you earned, every 4 big plays, you would then get a guaranteed letter in the mail that would give you a guaranteed golden ship part. Now, hopefully you just didn't end up with duplicates, but that was one way you could guaranteed to get at least part of your golden ship set, depending on how many duplicates you got. Although, chances are you would get just 4 total ship parts in general, and that would be great, and so you'd end up with half your set, which is sweet. Now, unfortunately, though, in 2014, Nintendo shut down the online Wi-Fi options for Nintendo DS, so you can't actually do the servers are shut down, basically, so you can't do online multiplayer anymore. You can do local multiplayer mode by using download play, which that means is one person has a cartridge of Phantom Hourglass, the other person doesn't. The person without the cartridge can temporarily download just the multiplayer of Phantom Hourglass, and you can play together, which is cool. So that's sweet. You can still play multiplayer, however, that does not unlock the achievements. You can only do that in online play, which is not available anymore. So, big plays are dead. It's a thing that you can't do anymore, which is really sad. Once you defeat all the Phantoms in that room, on the final floor on B13, they don't actually create any chests in that room, but in the next room, we actually have multiple chests that appear. And the next time you cross the bridge, then it will all break down and disappear. But these chests contain rare ship parts, and so they actually have a high probability of being golden ship parts. So that was actually my first golden ship part in the game. Finally! Yes! So the last few treasure maps in the game have a high probability of being golden ship parts, and I actually, it's actually one option you can do too. You can ignore most of the treasure maps in the entire game, but just only get the ones at the end, and that way you have a high chance of getting treasure that's actually worth it. Because the first few treasure maps you get, like, often give you ship parts that are worth 50 and stuff like that, so they're kind of meh. But later they often give you ones that are worth 1,500, so those are worth quite a bit. So if you're just going to ignore most of the treasure maps anyways, you can just get the last ones, so like the ones for the last few chapters, and that's the only ones you get. And that way you have a very high probability of finding golden ship parts. Speaking of which, so we got 2 in the Temple of the Ocean King earlier in this video, so I'm going to go grab those sunken treasure, and one of those happened to be a golden ship part for me as well. Oh yeah, my luck's finally changing. I feel like I've honestly had, like, pretty bad luck for, like, this whole playthrough. It just didn't really work out super well in my favor. Although I did catch a Neptuna really early on, and then my recording died, so that was a thing. But so on the other hand, that wasn't so lucky. But I made that work out. I'm actually kind of glad for that experience, because then it forced me to, like, think outside the box, or, like, figure out how to force Neptuna to spawn, so it's kind of worked out. Alright, so with all the sunken treasure collected, we now have to get golden ship parts ourselves through other means. So what are the different ways we can get golden ship parts and what is the most efficient method? So here are a bunch of different ways that you can do that. I'm going to list them on screen. Now the first, probably most obvious method is to win high scores at various minigames. Now the only one that I know of that actually leads to golden ship parts is actually the shooting gallery on Melita Island. And this is quite difficult. You have to score at least 2,000. It might even be like 2,050 is the minimum requirement to do that. And that means you can actually miss like one target. So I mean, you don't want to miss as far as losing your combo, but if you let one pass, that's okay. But just don't miss. Don't hit the wall or don't hit a girl or whatever. But as long as you hit all the ghost targets and you let one pass that's kind of awkward or whatever, then you're fine. So if you score really high at the shooting gallery, you will get a very rare ship part. And so that has a high chance of being a golden ship part, and that's great. So that's what I actually do here at the end of the video is I get a whole bunch of golden ship parts by just hanging out there for like half an hour and doing that. The next method is to kill big pirate ships, and they often drop sunken treasure, and they have a high probability of being golden ship parts as well. So the easiest one to find is right next to the Isle of the Dead in the northeast quadrant. So the very far top right corner of the map in the northeast quadrant, there's a big pirate ship that spawns there. Always, whenever you reset your console, like change the date on your console, you'll see a new pirate ship there. So that's one way you can get some guaranteed good treasure as well. The third method is to get prize postcards from the Man of Smiles in the Traveler ship in the Northeast Quadrant. So you go there, you defeat all the enemies, get the prize postcard, put it in the mail. The next time the date changes on your console, you will find a letter in the mail that has a prize, and it's often a ship part. It's not actually guaranteed to be a ship part. If you win the drawing, you get something stupid. If you lose the drawing, you get a ship part that has a high probability of being golden ship parts. The fourth method is to just buy it in shops, and as far as I know, regular shops don't sell expensive treasures, or whatever. They'll sell like ship parts that are worth like 50 or 150 or maybe even 800, but I don't think I've ever actually seen a ship part that's worth 1,500 at any of the regular shops in the game. I've only ever seen them at Beetle's shop. So Beetle's regular shop and Beetle's mass shop have higher tier ship parts available for sale. So if you check their stock every once in a while, you can even do that throughout the game if you have enough rupees, and then you might have a chance of finding that. And that stock refreshes when you change the date on your console. So that all being said, you could actually do several things at once. You can change the date on your console, you can go to the Man of Smiles and get a prize postcard and put it in the mail. You can check for big pirates and check Beetle's shop. And so you can do all those things and then save and then change the date on your console and whip it up again, get the prize in the mail from the postcard, then go back to the Man of Smiles, get more, go check Beetle's shop, go kill the big pirate, whatever, and get that sunken treasure. And you can do all those things. So those are all things that you could do kind of at the same time as long as you're changing the date on your console anyway. And the final method is to defeat phantoms on the lower floors of the Temple of the Ocean King, because you'll get a chest each time. Now, the final floors, I think it's only floors 11, 12, and 13 actually give you the higher tier treasure that can possibly have a golden ship part. I think floors 7 through 10 don't. They give you high tier, but it's not quite that rarity. So you can't get golden ship parts from those floors, I believe. So anyways, if you go to the yellow portal, just kind of get through those floors as soon as possible. Once you get to floor 11, now you start making sure that you kill all the phantoms, or making sure that you do it, and getting those chests. And actually, floor 13, once you defeat all the phantoms there, you actually get 2 chests. So from floors 11, 12, and 13, you actually get 4 chests that have chances to be a golden ship part. And once again, I think it's a pool of like 35 different prizes or something like that, and 8 of them are golden ship parts. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh my gosh, the Temple of the Ocean King, it takes so long to go through all that. But, you know, if each floor only takes like 30 seconds, like, so you have floors 7 through 10, which that's kind of annoying to go through all that. But after that, you're getting like a good chance of a golden ship part every 30 seconds, that's pretty good. Like, honestly, it's relatively efficient. And like I explained earlier, big plays once upon a time were a thing in Phantom Hourglass, and that was a guaranteed way to get golden ship parts. However, Nintendo closed down those servers or whatever, so you can't do the online Wi-Fi multiplayer with Phantom Hourglass anymore, so the achievement system doesn't even exist anymore. So that's really sad. You can still see it in the menus, but you can't actually do it, which is really sad. So yeah, as far as I know, that is the only ways to get golden ship parts in Phantom Hourglass, and we have access to all those options now. So what I'm doing at this point is I'm going back to the shooting gallery on Melita Island and scoring really high until I have gotten all of the remaining ship parts that I haven't gotten yet. And this was actually available right after the Temple of Courage, so as soon as you got the bow, you could have come back here to Romanos, and you could have just fought here for a while and gotten all the golden ship parts then. So if you end up with duplicate golden ship parts, you can just sell them, which is kind of sad, but they are worth 1,500 rupees, which is nice. That's a decent boost. But you can also, I just want to point out that there's an opportunity. See, you can trade with your friends, and if you trade them a golden ship part, they totally won't expect it. And that is how you know it's a true friendship that'll last forever, is when you trade golden ship parts in Phantom Hourglass, right? The true measure of friendship right there. That is the bar we're all trying to reach. So what the golden ship does is it just makes it so that you get one additional heart when you have completed the entire set. So having 3 of the same type, or 3 ship parts from the same set, increases the life of your boat by 1 heart. So you have 8 parts total, so you could have 3 from one set, 3 from another set. If you complete the entire set, you'll also get 1 additional heart. But the golden ship, what it does is it increases your life by 2 hearts instead. So you get 4 bonus hearts for having the golden ship, completed golden ship set, and that's what it does. Honestly, it's quite a bit of work to get the golden ship set, but once you have that, then that's the most rare thing in the game, and that's awesome. So next, we're just going back to the Temple of the Ocean King to tackle the final boss of the game. So make sure your potions are all snazzy and stuff like that. You can get yellow potions from the Goron Island shop is the easiest way to get those. So you might want to fill up on those because those will restore your hearts completely. I do gotta say, though, that the golden ship is definitely the most optional thing you can do in Phantom Hourglass. It's really not important. Except for completing every other ship part in Phantom Hourglass. That's even less important. So if you really wanted to do that, just for collection-y, like, cool points, you can complete all the other ship parts as well. Now, if you want to do that, just something to be aware of is that the ship parts are in different tiers of how rare they are, and so different minigames will offer different tiers of, for a certain amount of points, whatever, to get different prizes. So just be aware of that. Probably the easiest way, honestly, to complete your sets is to trade with a friend. So if you have another friend where you can trade your common parts for their common parts, because what's common for you is not common for them, so they can have a bunch of rare parts for you, or whatever's easy for you to get, that's what you want to trade them. So you could complete your sets that way. Again, not very important though. But yeah, so that's the end of this video, folks. Join me for the next one where we will tackle Bellum at long last. If you enjoy these videos, as always, throw a like on this video, subscribe to Zelda Dungeon and myself, and I will see you guys next time.